Hello there. Wow, it has been a minute since I've sat down to film. If you guys follow me over on Instagram, then you know I was at my parents' and my in-laws for the last 3 weeks. It was amazing. I needed that family bonding time. If you guys are new here, Keegan, my son and I, Keegan, my husband, we live in Texas. All of our family lives over at Florida and we are very close, tight-knit family. So anytime we get to go home, I really just absorb and enjoy every single moment. So that's why I've been a little MIA. However, I have been posting over on Instagram if you guys love like Korean recipes. I was filming a ton of my mom's cooking. A lot of you guys seem to have enjoyed that. So I will be sure to leave my handle down below. But in today's video, we are going to be sitting down and chatting all about my 2020 beauty favorites. So I didn't include any, I guess I should say makeup favorites, because I'm not including hair care or skincare in here. I thought I would do a separate lifestyle favorites where I talked about those as well as just other random lifestyle products, so definitely stay tuned for that. One other thing that I wanted to mention, I didn't want to do any repeats of products from my 2019 favorites. However, I will be telling you what products I still use on a consistent basis. For instance, the VDL Lumi Layer Primer, let's go ahead and throw that one out there because I will forever and always use that primer. But the other primer that really stole my heart during 2020 is the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas Primer. Now, whenever I first tried this one, I had actually never tried the original primer, like the putty one that's in the jar. I did eventually get around to trying it. I ordered, or was it like a Sephora bonus, or maybe it was some sort of mini that I ordered. It was okay, but to be honest, I actually preferred the putty primer more than that one. Something about it just worked better with my skin, or perhaps it was just that I was more used to the e.l.f. primer. The liquid version blends in seamlessly. It does a great job of blurring out any of your pores. If you're really wanting to create like an awesome, flawless base, this primer is amazing. Obviously, it does have a higher price tag. There's a ton of people out there who don't even bother with primer. I'm someone who just personally loves primer, so I really like that one on days whenever I'm going for a full glam look, or on days when I really want to go in and just blur out any pores. Right here where I tend to have enlarged pores, and then right down at the center of my forehead, that is my go-to. I have 4 liquid foundations and then 1 cushion foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the cushion first. This is the Moonshot Micro Correct Fit Cushion. I have mine in the shade 301. I've tried so many different cushion foundations. I love that this one has buildable coverage, but it just gives you this incredible, dewy, just like plump, beautiful, youthful looking skin. I'm not quite sure whether or not this compact was limited edition or not. I know I did see it again on Yesstyle recently, but it also does come in, I think, like a pink or beige packaging. But just make sure you get the Moonshot Micro Correct Fit Cushion. If the outer compact looks different, don't worry. As long as it's the same name, it's the same formula. It's just amazing. So sticking to the same whole like lightweight, skin looking like finish, the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. Love this stuff. I did an entire video on it. I'll be sure to link it down below. I'm not going to talk too much about the foundations because I've been raving about these for months and months now. That is another favorite though. It truly applies like a serum. It's so lightweight and it just gives your skin the most like glassiest, glowy finish. If you're someone who does not like anything glowy on your face, steer clear of that. Obviously you could set it with powder, but I just love the way that that looks on the skin on its own. One from the drugstore, this is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Foundation. I have tried the original Photo Focus foundation. I hated it. It smelled like paint. The formula wasn't bad. The scent was just so off-putting to me, and this just has a way better finish if you like dewy. I've heard some people say it's not the most long-wearing foundation. I personally don't have any problems with it, but I'm someone who is more on the normal to dry side. I'm guessing if you have really oily skin, people with really oily skin tend to not like dewy anyways, just because they get that dewy finish naturally as the oils come through. But if you are someone that does like dewy finishes and you do have oily skin, I think as long as you went in and set it like in your T-zone, you should be fine. I don't notice the type of dewiness to where it just gets so greasy that it wipes off. I honestly find this foundation to wear just as long as a majority of my other foundations. Okay, and then the 2 newest foundations I've been loving, and I've actually been enjoying mixing these 2 together. We have the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better Foundation and Skincare. I currently have mine in the shade Light Neutral 22. When you look at this bottle, there's this intense shimmer in it, just little tiny micro gold glitter particles. I don't really see those on my face. However, just the other week whenever I was at my mom's, I applied some, and I noticed if you let this sit for too long without shaking it up, I don't know if it's the skincare that kind of like balls up in it, you end up with little white spots on your face. That has only happened to me once, and I think it's because I went like a week and a half without wearing makeup. Plus, it was really cold in the area that I was storing this. So I'm wondering if something with the cold did something with the skincare, but ever since then, I haven't had any issues as long as you're using it or just shaking it up before you use it. If you are looking to amp up the coverage, I highly recommend checking out the Danessa Myricks Vision Cream Cover Foundation. Unlike these other foundations that I've mentioned, this is incredibly full coverage. You need the tiniest little dot and that will spread a long way. As full coverage as it is, it surprisingly is not heavy on the skin. If you guys do want to check out my full review and demo of this, I'll go ahead and link the video there. But man, Danessa Myricks is a brand that definitely just knocked me off my feet this year. I absolutely adore her products. I just have one setting powder, as much as I still love my favorite from 2019. That was the Too Faced Ethereal Setting Powder. It's still beautiful. I still love it. However, this was my go-to all year round. Anytime I did go back home to my parents, or in January when we were still traveling and we went on a cruise, this was the only powder that I packed. This is the Lancome Long Time No Shine Translucent Loose Setting and Mattifying Powder. Sometimes whenever you read a powder that says mattifying, I instantly think of a powder that just, you know, like sucks up every bit of moisture on your face. We've had this discussion many times in the past. This does not do that, but it truly does just like smooth out the skin. And while it's translucent, it has this very subtle pink tone to it that really helps to brighten up the under eyes. I am someone who has really dry under eyes, but even whenever I go in and apply this, I don't have any issues of it feeling like too dry or too crepey. I mean, obviously I do have wrinkles on my under eyes, but this isn't a powder that really accentuates that area. I just love how thin and silky it is. Works great on the under eye as well as all over your face. Moving on to concealer. For the last, what, 2 years? I think 2 years, I have loved the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, but we talked about that one last year, but just know in that head of yours, I do still love that. The Pony Effect Pro Fit Liquid Concealer. I use mine in the shade beige. Not only is the formula great, I actually really like the applicator as well. It's a flat, it still kind of has that doe foot shape, but it's flat on both sides. So for instance, today, my eyes were really watery. The makeup had kind of wiped off just because my eyes were so watery. So that's when this applicator comes into play. Since it is so firm, I can really just concentrate exactly on the placement without it getting like all over the place. Moving on to bronzers, I have both cream bronzers and powder bronzers that I want to talk about. Just like with a few of these other products, I just recently did an entire video talking all about my go-to favorite, most used cream products. So I'll be sure to link that both up above and down below. One of the products that you saw mentioned in there though was the Danessa Myricks Power Bronzers. She recently came out with skin balms that I'm dying to try out. I go between medium and deep. I like to go in with a buffing brush and I will tap both into there as well as medium. So you can see this one looks a little bit darker just from the transfer, but this bronzer is so good. The way that it blends into the skin is absolutely beautiful. As much as I still love the Huda Beauty Tantour, I notice that these are the bronzers that I just tend to gravitate towards more. I just love the formula. So incredibly long working, foolproof, buildable, just amazing. I love that formula. Then the other cream bronzer that I wanted to mention, this is another product that took me forever to try out. This is the Physicians Formula Organic Wear Sculpting Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Toffee. They also have it in one other shade. It's just a really great warm cream bronzer. So if you are looking for an option from the drugstore, this is one that I would highly recommend. The Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer. I have mine in the shade Radiant Bronze. This was a product that my best friend Laura basically forced down my throat. She was talking about it all the time. She's like, I can't believe you haven't tried it yet. And it's a product that lasts forever. I have been using this bronzer for I don't know how long now, and there's not even a dent in it. This was a bronzer that I think Laura used consistently for a year and like still wasn't able to hit pan in. It's such a beautiful, seamless powder. It's one that you can go in dip after dip after dip, heavy-handed, and it never looks muddy or cakey. There's a really nice glow to it. It's not overly warm, it's not overly cool. One of my all-time favorite brushes to use with this, you know what? Let's just go ahead and add a little bit more. This is the Smashbox, dang it, it's worn off. I'm pretty sure it's sheer powder brush. I've used this brush forever. In fact, I think I did talk about it in my previous yearly favorites, but it's just the best brush for this bronzer, or honestly any powder bronzer. I just It's just fluffy and oh, it's so good. I love you. You is kind, you is smart, you is important. Moving on to blushes. Once again, we have some cream options as well as a powder option because this was the year of cream cheek products for me. I just have not been able to get enough. Every new one that comes out, I want to try out. In fact, I recently got the new Too Faced ones. Actually, I don't know how new they are now because I'm a few weeks behind on filming. So as I mentioned earlier, if you guys are loving cream products like myself, definitely check out that cream products video that I posted the other week. This was another product that was mentioned there. Both of these are, so I'm just quickly going to talk about them. If you want to hear more about them, if you want to see swatches of them, definitely check out that video. First up is the Grande Cosmetics Grande Pop Plumping Liquid Blushes. It's a product that you need a tiny bit of. These really pack a punch when it comes to pigment. My ultimate favorite shade is Cinnamon Sugar. I've really enjoyed mixing both Cinnamon Sugar and Mauve-sicle just to create the perfect lighter peachy terracotta type of blush. Very, very long wearing and just an overall beautiful finish on the cheeks. And then another blush product. This is the Holika Holika Lumi Cheek. What are you called? Oh yeah, New Drop Lumi Cheek. This is a product that I use both as a blush and highlighter in one. Obviously, if you do want to intensify the look, you can go in and add an additional highlighter on top. But since this does have that golden luster to it, it really does just look like a glossy, blushy, dewy cheek all in one. I do believe this comes in 2 shades, but Caramel Luster is the way to go. Whenever I posted this video, I believe it was in stock at Yesstyle and now it's out of stock again. Either way, I will leave a link down below. That way, whenever it does come in stock, if you love glowy cheek products, this is one I would highly recommend checking out. I do still love my 2019 favorite, the Nars Exposed Cheek Palette. That is one of my, no, it is not one of my, it is my most all-time used blush palette. I absolutely love the formula of those blushes. So the blush, single blush that I picked today, this is one of the Nabla Skin Glazing Glass Skin Finish Glow Powder. I have mine in, oh no, yeah, in Independence. This is another product that is just so incredibly glowy and forgiving on the face. Even if you go in with too much, since it is such like a glossy product, you're never left with a crazy clown cheek. It's just very, very glowy. Do you see that? It's a product that you really don't have to go in with a highlighter. If you don't want to, you can just go in with blush and it just really gives your skin that nice bouncy effect. I'm just gonna go in with my sponge a little bit and just press that into the skin. I just absolutely love that shade. You really can't go wrong with any of them. If you are looking for something that's more on the deeper side, there is kind of like a garnet shade one. If you guys are curious of some of the other shades, I'll go ahead and link my full face of Nabla video. I'm pretty sure I swatched all of the skin glazes that I have. Oops, did I talk about this already? I don't think so. But if you've been with me for a while, then you already know all about this amazing $6 brush. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. If you are looking for the best brush to use with cream bronzers, this is it. Mine is filthy, it needs a bath, but you can't go wrong with this. Buy multiples. That way you have one for foundation, you have one for bronzer. It's just such an amazing brush. Oh no. Come back out, son. You're getting all dark and dreary back there. This is another skin glaze. This one is in the shade Amnesia. This does come in several different shades. If you still like a very highlighty highlighter, but one that isn't like glittery and metallic, one that just gives you that light glazing on the cheek, this is it. The name is perfect. It truly is like a skin glaze. I just love. It's one of those highlighters where, yes, while you can still see it from whatever angle, it's not the kind that is so opaque. Think like the Becca Skin Finishes, where it's so frosty. Don't get me wrong, those are still beautiful. That used to be the only type of highlighter that I wore. But lately, these are just the highlighters that I tend to gravitate towards more. You can still see your skin underneath, but you still just have this amazing wet glaze across your cheeks. Now, if you're looking for a highlighter that's more on the natural side, it's a highlighter, but you really only see it whenever you hit the light just right. The Nars. What was that? The Nars highlighters are absolutely stunning. This one is in Fort de France. This is a just really light golden champagne type of highlighter. When you swatch it on your finger, it looks like a intense highlighter, but whenever you go in and you apply it with a brush, it's one of those highlighters where whenever I'm looking at you straight on, you might see a very subtle sheen, but then you really only notice it whenever it hits the light. It just creates this amazing, once again, type of skin glaze. It's not overly frosty, it's not too opaque, it's not one of those highlighters that just picks up on every bit of texture on your face. If you are someone with a ton of just like, for instance, like acne scars, just like deeper pits in your face, I would highly recommend checking out the Nars formula, just because it isn't quite as metallic as many of the other highlighters on the market, to where it just really emphasizes every like pore, divot, everything on your face. That one is much more forgiving, but you still get that beautiful highlight glow. This has been my favorite setting spray for I think like 2 years now. This is the Pixie Glow Mist with argan propolis, and argan oil. As you can see, it is one of those dual layered ones. You shake it up. So with that oil in there, obviously it leaves your face with a nice sheen. If you are on the very oily side, you notice that your makeup wipes off easily. Probably wouldn't recommend this, but if you are someone who is on the normal to dry side and you just love a very glassy finish on the face, this is beautiful. While I do still love the Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Mist, I went through 2 bottles of that and then I still just went back to the Glow Mist. This is just my go-to. I absolutely love this one. It's a primer that works great even under makeup. For instance, whenever I go in with a stiffer foundation or like a stick foundation that is on the more stiff side, that is a perfect base just to allow the product to really glide on without disrupting the formula. It just does a really good job of helping it blend seamlessly across your face. To be honest, when it came to eyeshadow palettes, I was kind of just all over the place this year. I didn't really have one specific palette that I stuck to all year round. For instance, years in the past, I would only use my ColourPop single shadows, Makeup Geek singles. I was so glued to those. But this year, I did a really good job of just consistently rotating palettes throughout my collection. These are just 2 honorable mentions because these really didn't come into my life until the end of the year. But as I mentioned, Nabla just stole my heart immediately. So we have the side-by-side nude palette. I know I'm gonna be linking all sorts of videos within this video, but I did also post a go-to neutral palette video either in, I think it was either November or December, so I will link that one for you as well. I did mention this palette in that video. If you are just starting off with makeup and you don't have many neutrals in your collection yet, and you are looking for a palette that offers both shimmers and mattes, something that you can create an everyday or smoky glam look with, Nabla formula is just Nabla's. Formula is amazing. I cannot get enough. Their metallics and shimmers are just so beautiful, and they truly do make some unique colors. Then the other favorite is the Nabla Dreamy 2. Whenever I'm looking just for an all over metallic lid shade, this is a palette that I reach for time and time again. I believe this is the palette that I used in my Nabla video. I personally love the look that I created. So if you are interested, like I said, that video will be listed. Just like last year and the years before, I'm still going to my Laura Mercier Caviar Sticks. I think that's genuinely a product that will be a forever favorite. I don't care if I'm like 80 years old, I will probably still be going in with the Cocoa Caviar Stick because it is that good. But another recently discovered favorite, these are the Nabla Cupid's Arrow Full Color Stylo pens, crayons. So I've talked about these so many times. I'm just gonna show them to you and tell you that they are amazing. You can use them on your waterline, your tight line, your lid. Once you apply them and you give them that short window to dry, they stay in place all day long. So even if you have watery eyes and you're just looking for an amazing cream shadow stick, these are the way to go. I'm still using the same exact brow products that I used in 2019. I don't know, with brows, once I find what I like, yeah, I'll go in and I'll try a few other products, but I tend to get disappointed. Not so much with brow pencils, but brow gels. I just think I found my 2 that are my go-to, and it's what I'll use forever. The Benefit, what do you call it, 24-hour brow setter, and then the Maybelline Fiber Volumizer, which this is getting harder and harder to find. I always have to order it on Amazon now. They don't sell it in drugstores. It's sad because it's truly like, if I could only pick one of these, it would hands down be the Maybelline one. Just do us all a favor, Maybelline. Come on, do us a solid and make that product permanent and readily available in drugstores, because it's really the only brow product that I can't live without. For mascaras, That didn't change either, so we don't need to talk about that. Lash Princess waterproof, it's the way to go. It's from Essence. I used to be a die-hard Maybelline mascara fan. While I do still love their mascaras, if you have very straight and stubborn lashes that do not want to hold a curl, you have to try out this formula. And the best part is it's like under $5. You really can't beat it. Okay, finally moving on to lips. Actually, before we move on to lips, this was my go-to sponge this year. I just used it. That's why it looks disgusting. But here's what it's supposed to look like. This is the Kokie Cover and Conceal Beauty Sponge. This is either $5 or $6. It is the squishiest, bounciest sponge I have ever used. Beauty Blender Who, this is like the end-all, be-all when it comes to beauty sponges, in my opinion. If you haven't tried it, you must. It's like, I can't even... Some people might not like a sponge that's this squishy, but I love it. I've used firmer sponges, I've used squishy sponges, but this is the squishiest of the squish, and it's good. All right, finally, lip products. Okay, I need to dwindle this down because there's a pretty good pile down here. Let's go ahead and talk about actually only one lip liner. The other is an eyeliner that I use as a lip liner. So much so that I had to get a second one. This is the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil in Torch. I use this as a lip liner. If you are just looking for like the perfect terracotta type of lip liner shade, this is it. And the best part is, while it is very creamy, it is so long wearing. I'm not the craziest about the 24/7 Glide On pencils for your eyes. Like, to me, they're just okay. I find the Caviar sticks and the Nabla Stylos to be much more long wearing on the waterline than the 24/7 Glide On pencils, which is kind of weird considering these are called 24/7 Glide On. But let me tell you what, this is like the longest wearing non-lip liner that I've ever used. The other one, this is an old favorite. This is MAC Strip Down. If you're just looking for a great everyday nude, this guy is it. That's another color that I do think looks beautiful on its own, whether you're wearing a gloss or lipstick on top. I just tend, as much as I appreciate a retractable eyeliner, whenever it comes to lip liners, I find the wooden ones to last longer on the lips. Sometimes with retractable lip liners, not only do they break easier, but sometimes the formula is almost too creamy to where it's not quite as long wearing as pencil lip liners. If you're looking for another great lip liner from the drugstore, the NYX wooden pencil ones, those are amazing as well. Some shades that I love are Natural, wait, is it Neutral or Natural? I think it's Natural, Peekaboo Neutral, and then Ever. Those are 3 shades that I use consistently. Another 2 products that I love that actually kind of took me by surprise, not the actual formula because I know that I love these, but the color of them. I typically always stay away from metallic lips, but this does not look weird and metallic on your lips. Whenever you go in and apply this even on its own, while I'm someone with my nose is getting more and more stuffed by the minute. I sound like nasally Nigel. Even though my lips are very naturally just unpigmented, some people, just have that very like poppy rosy lip shade. I don't have that. These are sheer, but they provide enough color where it just looks like I have a great everyday nude lip on. So first up, this is the Afterglow Lip Balm. I have a majority of these shades, but Laguna is definitely my go-to. Swatched, it doesn't look like much. I mean, you do see a little bit of a bronzy sheen right there, but not much. But on your lips, it is so beautiful. If you want to take it up a notch and make it even extra glossier, you can go in with, I think it's oil-infused lip tint in Laguna. So in the packaging, this looks like it would be a crazy metallic, just bronzy copper, but on your lips, that bronzy sheen just gives you an extra pouty, juicy lip. I have worn this so many times on IG stories. Anytime I do, I always get questions. It's these 2 together, but if I do want to deepen it up a little bit, I will go in with Nars, or not Nars, MAC Strip Down. It's just my go-to nude liner, but this combination, if you love a good everyday nude lip, this, I'm telling you, so good. And then an option that I want to talk about from the drugstore, anytime I wear the shade Globetrotter, I always get questions. If you're just looking for an amazing orange base, like rusty red, this is the best color ever. So I do own quite a few of these, but my go-tos are Globetrotter, Amazonian, and Groundbreaker. If you've never tried this formula before, they're so incredibly long wearing without doing the weird peeling, drying, tightening thing. This is a formula where you have to go in with some sort of oil-based makeup remover at the end of the day, otherwise it is not going to come off. You could sleep in it, wake up with it, it'll still be on your face. If you're someone who likes to wear lip products under, I keep thinking this is like lipstick on my nails. It's a nail decal that I forgot that I applied myself. If you're someone that likes to wear lip colors under your mask, this is a formula that will not budge. It is truly a mask-proof formula. Okay, I thought there was one other, no, just kidding. Oh no, here it is, wow. It's actually the product that I'm wearing right now, and it's a gloss that I somehow forget to talk about on my channel, but I wear all the time. In fact, this is my second tube. I was down to like this much in my last one, and then I lost it. I was sad because I really wanted to share it in an empties video because it always feels so good to finish a lip gloss. I have so many different lip glosses that I rotate through that I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty rare that I finish a whole tube, but I'd finished this one. The only thing is the scent of this absolutely sucks. Mr. Bubble was the bubble bath, wasn't it? There was another bubble brand. It was like the best bubble solution. It had a really cute little like bubble head on it. I'm gonna go ahead and post it right here. It smells exactly like that. I hate that smell. I just, especially for a lip product, I'm like, why? But the color of this, I just absolutely love. I mean, it's not anything that unique, but it's something that I can grab every single day and be happy with. It just works with so many different eye colors. So this is the Revlon Super Lustrous, the gloss. If you guys haven't tried any Revlon products in a while, a long time ago, these used to come in like the square tubes. At one point on YouTube, they were like bee's knees. Do you guys remember those glosses? I had so many of them. But then several months back, they repackaged them into this packaging here. But this one is in the shade 270 Indulgent. It's just everyday color. Obviously, you could go in with a lot and keep it more pigmented like that, like a deeper mauve. But I'll just go in with one dip for my top and bottom lip, and it just creates the best everyday shade. Don't get me wrong, I still love eyeshadows, but lately I've just been liking the look of something really minimal on the eyes and then just a very glossy cheeks and then a glossy lip. This is pretty much what I wear around my house every day, all day, with the exception to the lashes. I pretty much only wear lashes when I film. There you have it. There are all of my makeup favorites from 2020. I would love to hear about some of your favorites down below. Don't forget to stay tuned for the lifestyle favorites video that should be coming up, I guess, later next week. And that is pretty much it. As always, thank you so much for hanging out. If you guys have any comments, questions, definitely leave those down below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.